Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being here bright and early. Finalists, I hope you already feel welcome here at Carolina, but in case you don't, I just want to offer you my personal welcome and just reiterate how excited we really are to have you here today. So, good morning, welcome. My name is Megan Lienau. I'm a first-year scholar from Atlanta, Georgia, and lucky for me, being a first year means that I know exactly how you're feeling right now. I was in your shoes not so long ago. So if you're anything like me, I'm sure you have tons of questions right now. And if you're anything like me, you're probably pretty curious about what exactly you're getting yourself into. So hopefully I can shed some light on the situation. But if I'm not so clear and you still have questions afterwards, please feel free to come and talk to me and ask however you would like. To start, I want to remind you that each summer experience is meant to enrich your individual development by pushing you outside of your comfort zone, because that's where we know that growth happens. This foundation truly believes that learning happens both inside and outside of the classroom, and that your experiences really expand your horizons. In my opinion, the Outdoor Leadership Summer does an incredible job of building your skills as a leader because you push yourself to both physical and mental boundaries. So, this picture starts last June. Thanks to the Morehead-Cain, I got to spend 22 days mountaineering in the Sawatch Range of Western Colorado with the Outward Bound School. I learned and grew immensely through this opportunity, and today I want to give you just a little bit of insight into what that experience looked like. So, a little disclaimer, I had a little bit of mountaineering experience beforehand, and I had done some hiking on my own, so I was really excited to start this experience. However, not everyone on my trip felt the same way, and I just want to reiterate to you guys that your skill level coming into this experience does not really matter, and that everyone is able to achieve their goals throughout this experience. So this picture shows me and some of my patrol mates on top of Galena Peak. It was taken the second to last day of our expedition, and at this point we're all very close. However, this day had proven to be one of the most physically challenging out of all the days, and because of that became a very emotionally stressful day. This day started at 3 a.m. We had to pack up and leave one of the most beautiful campsites we had pitched the whole expedition under the cover of darkness with our headlamps glowing to start an 11-mile trek up and over the Continental Divide. So it was a long day. So by the time that we got to the top of Galena Peak, you can imagine everyone is just exhausted and not really feeling it anymore. But in all honesty, that moment when we reached the peak was more than just a physical accomplishment. It reminded us that we were there together to achieve a goal and gave everybody a little bit of extra energy to make it to camp. However, I don't know, that's the way that it felt. We were sitting on the top celebrating. But it ended up being a little bit different. So now most of the time people think that climbing up the mountain is the hard part. You know, the hiking up is the most difficult part. That's the up part. But for me, being 4 foot 11 inches tall and carrying a pack upwards of 55, 60 pounds, the down part is much more scary. Most of the time I can just put my pack on, lean into the mountain, take a couple steps, and you're going up. But coming down, we had to face the downslopes of Galena Peak, which are icy cliffs, and talus fields, which are large fields of boulders. And basically that means that me with my pack on, if I take one wrong step, I just become a bowling ball and I'm just gonna come down the slope and there's not much anybody can do to stop me. So these talus fields and large boulders were very unfriendly to my little legs. And I, like many of you, am a pretty competitive person when it comes to anything physical. And I, like many of you, pride myself on being a strong leader, which I forgot to mention, this day ended up being the day that it was my turn to be leader of the day. So for the majority of the time, we were climbing up, I was in front. I was leading the pack, I was motivating everybody to make it up the mountain. But when it came time to come down, I fell behind. I was really struggling through these boulder fields. Most of the guys in our trip were over 6 feet tall. I could just trance through the boulders like they were nothing. But I had a very different experience. And because I was falling behind, I was really struggling physically, and I became really frustrated and emotionally just angry at my inability to lead from behind. So needless to say, when we had finally arrived at the base of the peak, nobody was feeling rejuvenated anymore, especially me. The physical fatigue was really setting in, and coping skills of our team just kind of flew out the window. Everyone just started bickering and complaining, oh, my feet hurt, I'm in pain, I would really like a cheeseburger right now, those kind of things. And it just became a really unhealthy, negative emotion session at the bottom of the peak. And it became even worse when I looked at the map and realized that, hey guys, we still have about 4 more miles to go. So in that moment, I really was not motivated to keep going either. I had definitely found my physical and mental boundary, and I was really not motivated in that moment to push through. But I had a little moment of clarity in my mental storm and realized that there was no use in complaining or waiting, and the best option was just to pick myself up mentally, emotionally, and put on a good face for the rest of my team, fake it until we made it, and that's kind of exactly what I had to do. And in all honesty, that was the longest and hardest 4 miles that I've ever traveled, and I had to use every trick in the book to motivate my team to make it to camp. What ended up working was as we were coming down, I would just call out members of the team. One of my friends, Jordan, was hilarious, and I'd say, Jordan, sing us a song, and we'd all get together and sing. I would say, Harrison, you're kind of an angry person. How about we just scream at the world for a second? Just on the way down, everybody would play to their strengths so we can make it to camp. That is definitely the best burrito I've ever eaten, best sleep I've ever had that night at camp. So taking a step back, this one day on expedition is a perfect snapshot of what my summer taught me. This experience of forcibly keeping my composure and stepping into the shoes of my patrol mates was perfectly captured by a quote our instructors had shared with us on the first day, and I want to share it with you now. Without self-discovery, a person may still have self-confidence, but it is self-confidence built on ignorance and melts in the face of heavy burdens. Self-discovery is the end product of a great challenge mastered, when courage and strength are summoned for the sake of something outside the self, another human life. So, the wilderness has a way of simplifying the world around you, making our needs simple and apparent. Filling those needs becomes an application of effort, fueled by compassion, and an understanding that if one person benefits, the whole team benefits. So I stand here today, only 1 year removed from your shoes, and already the Morehead-Cain has given me an opportunity to better understand myself and the way that I interact with others through my outward bound experience. Because of my adventures in the Colorado wilderness, I feel much more equipped to keep composure in the face of a challenge and empathize with those that are struggling. I absolutely loved my time mountaineering, and I'm so grateful for the friendships I formed and all that I've learned. So if you have any questions about the Outdoor Leadership Summer, please feel free to come ask me. I would love to talk about it.